Nature is an awe inspiring thing, both in its wonder and its horror. Unfortunately, today we will be talking a little bit about the latter of those circumstances. Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we're here to talk about a poem that will appear in two separate playlists on this channel. Number one being the poetry discussion playlist, now cruising towards 700 videos strong, and number two being the Robert Frost playlist. The poem in question itself is known as Acquainted with the Night. Now, the poem in question reads as such: I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the furthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. I have stood still and stopped the sound of feet when far away an interrupted cry came over the houses from another street, but not to call me back or say goodbye. And further still, at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaimed the time was neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night. So, despite this statement here, proclaimed the time was neither wrong nor right, suggesting moral ambiguity to what is going on here. Time is a force of nature. Time, nature, suggesting that there may be no moral right or wrong here, does not stop people from believing that there is a moral wrong or right here. This stanza right here is where I want to concentrate. He's talking about being out at night, being out at these strange hours. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. The whole poem begs the question, what are you doing out? What are you doing out at night? What are you doing out at these odd hours? But never does it suggest that the speaker here has done anything outwardly wrong. Not peeping in windows. He's not out stealing things. He's just out. He's not breaking into cars. He's not beating homeless people up in the park. He's just out. He feels upon himself this grave sense of wrongdoing simply at the fact that he is out and active. Now, this poem does beg the question, why are you out? I think that there is some suggestion here. Either the speaker here, does not have a reason to be home. He has no family, he has no children, he has no job, and that is the wrong that he is committing with his life. Or he does have these obligations, a family, a wife, a job, and he's out anyway, so that his work the next day will suffer, and that is the moral wrong. But it's never made clear here what the wrong is that our speaker feels he has committed. He's just out. And I talked a little bit about in the intro the wonders of nature. You know, I think so. This used to be, I guess, from what I pick up from the commentary I have seen on this poem, this was at one time one of Robert Frost's more beloved poems. You don't hear about it anymore. I think it's because there is that element of humanity in there that made it one of the better known Robert Frost poems, more beloved Robert Frost poems at one point in time. The okay, the sort of wormy thing about this is a person who obviously I have been acquainted with the night. This is a metaphor here. This is a double entendre. I am acquainted with the darkness. I am acquainted with the hours that no one wants to be around. This is likely a metaphor for depression, or at least despair, right? These two things, one or the other, probably both. um, in that, one of the crazy things with that type of darkness is sort of like learned helplessness. When someone gets too acquainted with those feelings of despair, they feel guilty not feeling despair. And then when they're feeling despair, they feel guilt of their despair. Despair and guilt, they're not the same thing, but guilt sure makes despair worse. So I searched this up. This was a phenomenon I'd known something about, but not all this much. From nceph.anu.edu.au out of Australia. The self-stigma of depression scale is designed to assess the extent to which a person holds stigmatizing attitudes towards themselves in relation to having depression. It is a 16-item scale with 4 subscales: shame, self-blame, social inadequacy, and help-seeking inhibition. Responses to the self-stigma items are measured on a 5-point scale, ranging from 1, strongly agree, to 5, strongly disagree. Items are coded so that a higher score indicates greater self-stigma. The self-stigma of shame scale items. Shame. I would feel ashamed. I would feel embarrassed. I would feel inferior to other people. I would feel disappointed in myself. These are the kinds of questions that go into this scale. Social inadequacy. I would feel I couldn't contribute much socially. I would feel inadequate around other people. I would feel like I was good company. I would feel like a burden to other people. These ideas, this idea of guilt, holding guilt through one's own depression, through one's own despair, this is just a compounding factor in the downward spiral of this negative self-image, this negative self-talk. And I think that is what our speaker is really struggling with here. You get into these negative loops, you can't sleep. You don't deserve to sleep, right? You get these feelings, and then you are so tired during the day that you don't have energy. So you don't have the energy to burn off energy. So you're not tired. You're too tired to sleep by the time to sleep comes, and your body won't let you sleep because you were too sedentary during the day. And then you just lay in bed telling yourself all of these nasty things about yourself. So I think that that is sort of what is going on here with this poem, being accustomed to the night, being acquainted to the darkness. Anyway, that is what I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.